Hi, today we're going to continue in the method book with line 60, Bach's Musette on the trumpet. And we're going to look for patterns and talk about things as they come up in the music. We'll break it down and then we'll put it all together and hopefully you can play along with me. So first thing, as always, we have our treble clef at the beginning of each line. Then we have our time signature. We're in 4/4 time. The top number tells us that we have 4 beats in each measure. The bottom number is the value of the whole note if we had one. So if the whole note were to get 4 beats, half of a whole is a half of 4 is 2, so those half notes get 2 beats. Then half of a half is a quarter, half of 2 is 1, so the quarter notes get 1 beat each. Finally, half of a quarter is an eighth, and half of 1 is half and not 0. So we know that the eighth notes get a half beat each, and it takes 2 of them to equal a single beat. Now, a lot of them are grouped in pairs, as we are familiar with, but we do have some that are grouped in 4. So, and that's okay. They mean the exact same thing. We don't have to have a beam all the way through. We could have a pair and a pair. It's going to be exactly the same. So we're going to look for these patterns and we're going to talk about some things that are coming up. So let's just look at this first line. First of all, I notice I have an F here. That F stands for forte, and that means our dynamic is loud. So we're going to start loud, and then I have a half note G at the beginning, so it's open. And then I'm just going to go down my scale, and I'm slurring from the F to the C. So I've got the half note G, F, E, D, C. Then I do it again in the next measure. Half note G, F, E, D, C. Then in the third measure, I slur my eighth notes, E, F, and then I've got a quarter note G, F, E. Next measure, D, G, E, C. So we have a lot of stepwise movements like scales. And then at the fourth measure, we have kind of an arpeggio pattern. So this first line is going to go like this. 1 and 2 and ready. So that's our first phrase or idea. If we compare it to the next line, it's almost identical until you get to the fourth measure, and then it's different. We end with a D, up to a G, down to a C. So the second line is going to still be forte, and it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, ready. So that's half the song, and it's the first 2 lines are almost identical to each other. If we were to skip ahead and look at this fourth line, it's exactly like the second line, so we don't need to relearn that. So now let's look at the third line. I now have a P written in, and that P tells me that it's going to be played piano, which means soft. So we're really going to bring down our volume. And it's a totally different idea. We start with eighth notes that are slurred, D to E, and then we come up to the F on a quarter. D, E, F happens twice. Next measure, we have an E slurred up to a G, then another G. And then we do the slurs from D to E again. D, E, F, D, E, F, and then E, slur to C, D. So that third line will go like this. 1 and 2, ready. And then, like I pointed out earlier, the last line is exactly like the second line. So if you wanted to think in form, you could say A prime, B, A prime. But either way, We're going to start at the beginning. I have a metronome set for 88 beats per minute, and we're going to put it all together. So here we go. Nice and easy. And 1, 2, ready. And that's it for line 60, box musette on the trumpet. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time.